Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit the notification bell so you know when I go live and upload videos. So tonight, I'm finally closing the chapter on Dahmer. The only reason why I didn't do it last week is because I was not feeling well, but I'm getting better. And I've decided that tonight is the night we are going to be going over Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, and episodes 8 through 10. All right. So I'm going to be greeting people as you come in, but I'm going to be, just trying to get this done, guys, because it is pretty late. And that's that. All right. So the first episode it's not the first episode, but episode 8 is called Lionel. All right. So there was a lot going on in this episode called Lionel. And we see that Lionel Dahmer, he is asking Jeff, like, what made you do all these things? Because at the end of the day, what he really wants to do is get to the bottom of why he did it, and he wants to get his son help because he's trying to not make his son go to jail. Like, he doesn't want to send his son to prison, okay? So Jeff starts to tell him, well, remember when you used to, do the dissecting, you used to dissect the roadkill and stuff like that. So, hold on, guys. Sorry about that. I hate when you guys like see me screaming, but you can't hear me. Anyway, so Jeff is saying that, remember when we used to do the roadkill and all of that stuff. And so the father's like, oh, no. No. Don't put this on me. Don't try to put this on me. But it's like, you helped, all right? We're not gonna sit here and make it seem like it's all of Lionel's fault, but he did help, all right? And he's trying to tell his son, like, I didn't do this to you. I was trying to give you some attention and encourage you and all of that stuff. I didn't do this. I didn't tell you to do all the other stuff and whatever. Okay, so now we also see that he goes home and he's struggling. He's not sleeping or anything like that. And his wife is like, well, why don't we take you to the doctor? You can get some sleeping pills and stuff like that. And he kind of lashes out at her and he's like, no, I don't want no sleeping pills. Pills is what got us in this situation in the first place. My ex-wife, she had all these pills. She was a horrible mother. She screwed him up. She scared him to death. Like, he was just blaming everything on Jeff's mom. And but after a while, he piped down and he starts to tell his wife that he was having, like, Jeff has his genes and that he was having, certain thoughts when he was younger. Like, the problem probably came from him because when he was a kid, he made homemade bombs and he had fantasies about killing people while he was in church. And then he tried to hypnotize a girl in his neighborhood to see if he could make her do what he wanted to do and stuff like that. I mean, what he wanted her to do. And it was just a whole lot. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is really crazy that he was actually going through all these things himself, but he had way more control over it, obviously, because he was able to live a normal life. But to take your son to collect roadkill off the road is not really that normal. All right. So we also have Jeff Dahmer's mom. I forgot her first name, but she's having a hard time. She moved on all her life and she never looked back. And, she's works at this AIDS clinic and she's given this young man the good news that he's HIV negative. And the guy was crying like, oh, thank you, Lord, this and that. She starts crying too. And he's like, why are you crying? She says, I'm just glad that another mother doesn't have to hear bad news. Right. So because she's taking this Dahmer thing, her son is all in the news. She's denying the last name. Like, my last name is not Dahmer. I'm not Dahmer and stuff like that. All right. So now we see them talking to the lawyer. And they bring up this story about this man that, he was pretty similar. His case is pretty similar to Dahmer's case. And he killed a lot of people, had body parts all over the place when they finally found him, and they had him plead insanity. But the thing about this is that he was going in and out or whatever, right? So they're trying to get Dahmer to plead insanity, the same thing. But he's letting him know, like, no, Dad, I knew what I was doing, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing insane about it. I knew what I was doing. Okay. And so we also find out this man, the story that they were telling, he made bowls of skulls, right? People's skulls, and also he upholstered his chairs with human skin. Like, it was just really crazy. And then we find out that Jeffrey said he found out about this person, or he learned about this person through a comic book. So you're like, oh my gosh, the father's like, well, now we can blame society. So it's like pretty much this episode is really all about Lionel trying to find someone to blame. Okay. So now the mom finally shows up to one of the court hearings, and they're arguing and going at it, blaming each other. And he's like, I haven't heard anything from you. All the blame is on me. They're making lies about me in the media and all this. And where are you? You're nowhere to be found and all of this. And, she's yelling at him, and she's like, you were making roadkill, dissecting roadkill in the effing garage and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, sorry guys, this has to be really sad though, for them to be going through this. It's their child, and he's done these things, and it has to be a lot of stress on them. It's very sad too. So that is one of the things that I liked about this series, was that it was really letting you get into, get on both sides, like see how things were going from both sides, the victims and, Jeffrey Dahmer's family, what they were going through and stuff. All right. So let me see what else, if I'm missing anything. Oh, because the father was watching Geraldo, and somebody got on there claiming to have been Jeffrey's lover, saying that he had a stepmom from hell and that the father molested him. So it was a lot. All right. And that was crazy. How he even knew that he had a stepmom was weird as well, because Jeffrey Dahmer was known to be antisocial pretty much, and kind of like a loner. Like, he was socially awkward. All right. So now we have, the impact statements from the family members. And this was really sad, of course. Now, this one man right here, I don't know what was going on. What was the and I'm not trying to say, oh, what was the purpose of him? Obviously, he represents, a real life family member, but it does seem like he was probably autistic or something like that, because some of the things he was saying, it wasn't really, clicking with me. I didn't really get certain things that he was saying. All right. And then this was really sad, of course. And then this one was the biggest one, because I remember seeing this on TV. All right. In the news. Okay. So now, Jeffrey has been sentenced, because he kind of did his little statement as well, and he like apologized to the families and stuff like that. And now the father is here, and he's breaking down, and he's telling him, I failed you, and I should have been there, and you know what, I'm going to make sure that I come visit you all the time and things like that. And Jeff is like, it's okay, Dad, it's okay, or whatever. So I don't know how to feel about Jeffrey Dahmer in this moment, as far as, was he really feeling remorseful at the time, or was it on some like reverse psychology thing, like, well, I guess he really did it this time, huh, at the end, like trying to make somebody feel sorry for him. So I wasn't really sure what this was all about. I couldn't really read it, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, his statement was, he did show remorse in this situation. I don't know if he's trying to act remorseful, or if he really is remorseful. I don't know how that really went. All right. But the father, I'm telling you, this man, I forgot what his name is. I don't think I ever knew, but he is a really good actor, and he brought the emotion seriously, made you want to cry, child. All right. But meanwhile, the mom, All right, first of all, the mother had went to one of the victims' houses trying to plead with another mother, but the mother wasn't there, and it was the grandmother. That's a lot, right? It was the grandmother who was there, and she wanted to see if the victim's mother could plead and say something on behalf of Jeffrey to help him get into like a mental institution instead of going to prison. And the lady was like, you know what, I'm sorry, I feel bad for you, you know, as a mother and everything, but maybe it's time that you listen to somebody else's truth, you know. And so here she is, she's writing a letter because she is about to off herself, guys. She done turned on the gas and, you know, did something with the stove and everything so that she could kill herself with carbon monoxide poisoning. And she wrote a letter to, I don't know if she wrote a letter to both of her sons, but definitely to one of them. And here comes Sherry to tell Lionel what was going on. Meanwhile, he's trying to write a book and he's like, oh man, who knew? Writing a book so therapeutic. I should have been trying to do this a long time ago. Whatever. So that's pretty much how the Lionel episode went. And we're about to get into episode 10. I'm sorry, 9. I just want to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. All right. So the next episode is called The Bogeyman. All right. And in this episode, we see that Dahmer is getting fan mail. All right. Very freaking disgusting. He's getting money sent to him. People are requesting autographs and stuff like that. We also saw that he kind of like traced his hand and everything and sent it back to the person. What else? There was a comic book written about him. He has a Halloween costume. People are dressing up as him for Halloween. It's just really, really messed up, guys. All right. Let me see. There's somebody here. Oh, hey, Support Gaming. Thank you. And thank you for the super chat. And hey, Savannah. So what was I saying? All right. So yeah, he has fan mail. And this actually makes him feel pretty good, guys. He looks happy about it, all right? And then he starts to act up in the prison as well. You know, starting to try to talk about how his victims looked and everything, right? With the chicken bones and stuff like that. And then says, oh, matter of fact, no, this is how they looked. And he pours ketchup over it. And he's just being really disgusting, all right? And meanwhile, this dude here, Christopher Scarver, he is not happy. I'm sorry, I'm sniffling, guys. He is watching him, okay? And he's not happy with the way Jeffrey is behaving, okay? Now, I thought I had the picture with him doing the thing with the, like I said, I always lose one of those pictures, which is weird. All right, so here we have a scene where he had some type of wailing noise, right? The noise of whales, because he can't turn the light out. And he was saying that he needs the whale noises to help him go to sleep. And everybody's complaining. They want him to turn it off or whatever, turn it down, turn it off. So then here comes this CO, and he does not like Dahmer. You can see that very much. He does not like him. And he's like, this is what you like, said the sounds of people dying or the sounds of people being killed or something like that. And he was like, it's whale noises. So, he's like, oh, it's mine. You have no right to take it and all this stuff. So anyway, that gets taken away. It's so weird for him to say stuff like, you have no right to take it, or I paid for it, or this and that. But he had no right to take all those lives. You know what I'm saying? So now we also get to this scene where we have Tony's mom, Miss Hughes. She's getting these, she got something in the mail where somebody asked for her autograph, but it was so, it was a disturbing picture that they sent. I think it had Dahmer on it. I don't remember, but of course I was not going to share it. It was disgusting. But now she goes to the lawyer because she wants to know what she can do to fight these things, because she's not trying to be tortured and stuff like that, right? And have these people sending her mail. So the lawyer is telling her, listen, the father is writing a book. Y'all need to try to get that money. Y'all need to try to get all the proceeds. Don't let them make a freaking dime. And she was like, I don't know about that. I understand taking all the money from Dahmer. He's getting money from the, commissary, all this stuff. Yes, let that money go to the victims' families. But why do I want to do that to his parents who have also been through so much, right? And once he threw out like millions or something like that, she was like, maybe I'm gonna have to think about this now. You know what I'm saying? Because no, and especially it's probably not even the part where he said millions. It was more so the part where he was like, money that I guarantee he's not gonna share with you, right? So that kind of like opened her eyes because it's true. He was gonna get that money and he was not thinking about sharing it with the victims' families at all. Okay. Hey, pretty girl. So she says, I want to watch this for the education of it all, but it's so triggering. I may just have to watch all your reviews instead. Yes, no problem. It is very triggering. You do have to take it in small doses, which is why I couldn't do a full recap all together. So this is the last of it. This is episodes 8 through 10, and we're going to be done. All right. So now we also see that Mr. I do not know his name. It's very Smith. It's too hard, and I'm not trying to disrespect these people's last name, but this is what is his name? What is his name? The 14-year-old's. This is the 14-year-old's father. I knew his name, but I can't think of it now. Okay, if y'all know it, you could put it in the chat. But I forgot the son's name. But this is the 14-year-old's father, and he's getting these threatening phone calls, and just very racist, telling him to go back to his country and all of this stuff, and it's just not cool. Okay, so Connorac's dad. All right, so we also see that they meet up with this lawyer, and she's telling him that they can be actually getting some money. They can sue for $10 million, okay, because how his son was treated, and just kind of like it was a whole thing. It was just injustice. What happened with this whole thing, right? They didn't treat him like a citizen should have been treated, and which caused they basically had a hand in his murder, right? There was an episode called Blood on Their Hands, which is definitely what was going on when it came to Conorac. Okay, so they're going to go and sue for $10 million. And we're going to get back to that. So we also see that Glenda, she's back home. Her daughter's saying, Mom, just come with me. It's okay. Like, you don't have to stay here. And she's being stubborn. Like, I'm not going to let him run me out of my home, right? So she's trying to sleep in her apartment, but she's having all these, dreams and not dreams. She's having nightmares about hearing him cutting people up and, all this stuff is playing back in her mind. And she cannot sleep. So she goes downstairs. And this is where a lot of the people in the building are meeting. They're in the hallway and they're sleeping together. All right. Just like they're supporting each other like this, and they're able to talk to each other and stuff. It's scary, and it's really sad that they had to do all this. I wonder actually if this is what happened for real though, because they did embellish a little bit with this story. All right, so now we also have Conorac's funeral. They finally did it, and Glenda shows up to the funeral as well. One thing I like about her is that she's very sympathetic to the victims, and she seems very connected to the Conorac story because she was the one who tried to help the kid, and it just didn't work out like that, which is very, very unfortunate. All right, the cops sent him right back on in there to get murdered. All right, so it was just sad. This episode was really hard to watch. Like, I mean, episode 6 was hard to watch too, but this episode was really hard to watch because you're just like, especially with the Conorac story and the mom crying and all that. And I think there was a scene where she was kind of cutting him out of the family's photos and all of that because nobody speaks his name and all that, so we might as well just erase his memory and stuff. It was a lot. And I think in this episode we saw the brother, he was having nightmares and stuff about it as well because he survived Dahmer. Okay. So now we get a scene where in front of the building where all the horrors took place, there's people that want to treat this like it's a freaking tourist site. They want to take pictures and all of this stuff. So it's just really disrespectful. And now you can see that all the psychos, they're just coming out, right? And the daughter is upset, and she's like, what are you doing? This is my mother's building and all this. Like, you're being disrespectful. And he's like, I'm outside on the curb, I'm not doing anything wrong. So she takes this camera and she busts the daggone camera. All right, she breaks it. By the way, guys, if you don't know already, this is Niecy Nash's real daughter. I'm pretty sure that you can see the resemblance, honey. Okay. Anyway, she did say that doing a show like this, which was not easy, her daughter was definitely a ray of sunshine to be there with her on the set, which is awesome. All right, so the daughter, she gets arrested. All right. Yeah, of course the cops want to show up when it's time to get a black person arrested, right? But they sure didn't show up every time she called them. So now we have this man. I don't know what his position is. I was trying to get this done and over with, so I didn't take the time to find out his position. But clearly, he makes a lot of money. He's very high ranking in the city, and he has a lot of friends. He finds out that Dahmer's belongings are being auctioned off. Okay. And people are, listen, if they're making comic books and they're doing Halloween costumes and all that stuff, they were going to they wanted that stuff. They probably most definitely wanted the tools that he used, which is even sicker. Okay. So this man was like, you know what? No, I want all of his stuff, every last freaking item. All right. And he said, I don't care how much they're being sold for. I'm willing to pay $100,000 more. So he gets all of the stuff, everything that Dahmer owns. He gets it all. He has it dumped in the dump yard somewhere, trashed, right? And then he uses that money, and he takes the proceeds and he gives it to the family. He splits it among the family members. So when he gets to Conorac's dad, we find out that he gets about $30,000, maybe $32,000 or something like that. On top of that, we find out later that they won money from the lawsuit, but it wasn't $10 million. So we'll get to that in a minute, right? But I thought this was a really nice thing for him to do. And, bless his heart. You need people like this, because clearly that city and that state or whatever was not really trying to help these families like that or these people. So it's a good thing that you have folks stepping in like this, and lawyers and things like that, people that actually felt really terrible about what was going on, because the city on turn around and give them 2 cops an award. And it was like, are you kidding me? How the heck are you going to give these 2 cops that sent a kid back into a man's home to get murdered? How did you get an award for that? And then when they get suspended, they turned around and reinstated them. So it's just messed up. It's like a huge slap in the face. Really, really messed up. Okay. Let me get to the super chat. People back then really idolized the psychopath. Yeah, unfortunately, and I didn't know that because I was a kid. So, sorry. Once again, I'm sorry for sniffling, guys. But thank you for the super chat support, Bogeyman. And Savannah says she likes the review, but she can't watch the series. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible, guys. I definitely will not watch again. That's for sure. So now we get back to Glenda, and the super comes and tells her that they got to move. So everyone is being moved out of this building. They are demolishing it, and she wants to know what they're going to do with it. And he's like, I don't know. They're probably going to put a park here or something like that. And she's like, no, they need to make this a memorial site. They need to do some type of memorial, okay? But of course, what is she going to do? She can't do anything about it, but she does fight. All right. Meanwhile, we have Dahmer back in prison, and this is a church, and they're in the chapel and they're singing some hymns, and you see the guy to the right, the black bald guy. He gets up and he shanks Dahmer in the neck. So this is the first attempt on his life. Obviously, he does live. Okay. So while he is in the hospital, well, in the infirmary, he is getting more mail, guys. Okay. And it's people saying, yeah, I heard that you died or something like that. Well, Jeffrey Dahmer will never die, and all of this stupidity. I mean, just stupid. And I think they were saying that he's bigger than Freddy Krueger or something like that, calling him like the new Bogeyman and stuff. And it looks like this makes him, I don't know how he feels. I was trying to read his facial expression with this one, but I couldn't tell. So I was like, is he like looking like he's happy about this, or is he looking like, you know what, enough is enough. I don't think this is cool, because at first he was with it. He liked it, it seems. But with this one, this last scene right here, it seems like it was like, I don't know about this, So, and I ain't taking up for him either, but I just couldn't read his expression with this one. I don't remember a smile or nothing like that on his face. So, all right, guys, we are moving on to episode number 10, the final episode. And this is called God of Forgiveness, God of Vengeance. So the episode starts off with a flashback of John Wayne Gacy, another serial killer. And we are actually going to witness this man kill someone in almost the same way that Dahmer does with his victims, with putting something in his drink. Okay. But the dude was fighting back. I thought he was going to get away at some point because he really was trying to fight back, but he did not survive. Somebody was saying something about how he was more brutal or something like that with his killings than Dahmer was. Dahmer claims that, he always sedated his victims before because he didn't want them to suffer. And trust me, nobody is saying one is better than the other or saying that one is worse than the other. I'm just saying that I heard someone say that he was way worse because he really brutalized them. And I think he tried to make them suffer. So he was a different kind of evil, put it that way. All right. But yeah, so we see him kill this guy, a young dude. All right. But how he lures this guy in is he tries to make it seem like he needs somebody to work for him. So it's like is a kid kind of interviewing for a position or something like that. But he brings him to his house. So it's like when you go into somebody's house, guys, you might wanna pause. All right. Are we going to see a house? This is supposed to be an interview and we're going to see a house? No, thank you. Okay. Hey, sissy. Yes, thank you. I'm trying my best. All right. I'm trying my best. It's getting there. And I'm trying not to sniffle in front of you guys. So this is the real John Wayne Gacy. And pretty similar. They did kind of a good job when you look at it, right? All right. So psychopath. So now we get back to Dahmer and he is acting up still in the prison. He's putting trays of food on one of the benches, and when an inmate sits on it, they're sitting on the food. So he's kind of being a little terror. And he's very lucky at this point that nobody has gone upside his head. Now, after he got shanked in the neck, you would think he would calm it down. So obviously, if I wasn't sure of what I was reading when I saw his face, then he probably was still with it. All right. Still with the letters and the encouragement that he's the boogeyman and all of this stuff, because he's still trying to act stupid around here. All right. But this man, Christopher Scarver, he is not with it. He comes to him and he lets him know, look, I need you to stop because you're being a real a-hole. All right. You acting like you have no remorse. Okay. And I'm a Christian and I find your behavior offensive. So you need to calm it down. Okay. And he's looking at him like, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be offensive. And it's just like, you know exactly what the heck you're doing. All right. Stop it. I honestly wish that they would have allowed somebody to look into his brain to see what was going on, but we will get there later. But I want to know if he had like if part of his mind was not developed fully as far as age wise. Like, how old was he in in his mind? That's because even in this scene right here, he's acting kind of childlike a little bit, like, oh, I didn't, trying to play like he don't know that he was doing the wrong thing. Yeah, but somebody about to be on your freaking behind, so now you want to freaking cower. All right, so Scarver goes to this administrator's office and he wants to pull the records of Dahmer because right now he doesn't really know why he's in here. Like, he doesn't know all the details. So he finds out, well, first she's like, due to your psychiatric history, I cannot let you see this stuff, okay? And he's like, oh no, I'm better now. It's certain foods that make me a certain way or whatever. So he gets his hands on this stuff. It looks like she let him do it. So he finds out all of the stuff. He's going through all of the articles and everything, finding out everything. The thing that stuck out the most was the 14-year-old kid. Okay. Now, sorry guys for the sniffle. Excuse me. Once again, I'm jumping ahead, but when they showed all the victims at the end of this episode, there was more than one 14-year-old kid, guys, and I did not know that. All right. I don't know if y'all studied that it's basically a chart of his victims, kind of, right? I don't know if you guys studied it like me, but we will talk. Okay. So now, like I said, he got a hold of all the articles and he knows what kind of monster Jeffrey Dahmer is. So now he's really freaking pissed. Okay. But we have Dahmer, who's also watching John Wayne Gacy, and he's about to be executed. This is the reason why the episode starts off with him, because his execution is coming up. So he's making the news again after all these years from his crimes. And Dahmer's, cleaning, and he's looking at him. He's looking at him while he's on the news, and he sees that he's saying that, he doesn't feel scared about anything because he made his peace, and, he's like a Catholic and everything like that. So maybe he made his peace with God and stuff. So now this makes Dahmer want to go see the pastor or the priest in the prison. And he starts sitting down with him, asking him all these questions about forgiveness and stuff like that. And, I don't think I deserve to be forgiven. And then the pastor lets him know that it has nothing to do with what you deserve. Okay. It's about grace. And because nobody really deserves to be forgiven for stuff, right? I mean, but it's God's grace. So he was explaining all of that to him. Hey, recession proof. So yeah, girl. Another crate. Exactly. Met up with him and came to his end. Exactly. So, yeah, he's talking to him. This was a good conversation, especially on the pastor's part and how he was breaking everything down. Okay, so he lets it be known that he wants to be baptized now, Dahmer. So he wants to be baptized. Now we get to this scene where we're at Conorak's parents' his brother's wedding. Sorry, guys. All right, I wish I knew their last names. Synthesonian, something, but. Hey, you queen. So they're at the wedding and she was invited to the wedding, and it's another one of his son's wedding. And she's like, I'm proud of you guys. I'm happy for you. No, not proud of you. She said, I'm happy for you guys. This is a good day, And he's like, look, I try to be happy, but I always remember that Jeffrey Dahmer is alive and his son is dead. So it's hard for him to get past that and just, it's hard for him. So she was like, come on, let's get up and dance and stuff. Like I said, I like how she's invested. She stayed invested in the family. I don't know how true this is, but yeah. All right. So now we also get to the parents, some of the mothers of the victim. We see Tony's mom in the middle and another mother to the right and the left, and they have bonded together. They look like they pray together. They fight. They go to court together when people get out of pocket and disrespectful. So I like the bond that they made, and now they see a new comic because there's a comic out now, and it's a series. So the newest edition is Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus. Who will win? And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? And Tony's mom was like, I don't know who should be more offended, us or Jesus. Like, you over here, are y'all kidding? And then the mother on the left is saying, yeah, they trying to make it seem like he's some type of superhero. So it's just a bunch of sickness, guys. So now we get to the day that John Wayne Gacy is going to be executed. And when they asked him, do you have any final words? He was like, how's kiss my A or something like that for some final words. And I'm like, bro, he over here talking about something. He made his peace with God, or he made his peace and everything. But clearly you didn't, and you died sick. All right. And without remorse, because there were people that was there, most likely, that you killed their family members and you couldn't even say sorry. So yeah, I'm not sure if he had walked through the pearly gates when he closed his eyes. Okay. Child. So at the very same time, we have Dahmer getting baptized. Now, they said that this is actually something that happened, that one was getting executed and one was getting baptized at the same time, and that there was a solar eclipse of the sun. Like, that is something that really happened, and that is freaking crazy, guys. That's wild. And like, I don't know. All right. So Support Game, and thank you. He says, I don't want to get into religion, but I don't understand why people think they're going to easily be forgiven when they do all the bad things. Yeah, I mean, if you walk around acting like you're going to easily be forgiven, and you have this attitude where you think you can take advantage of that grace, then how genuine are you about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be mistaken. God is not mocked. He knows people's hearts. So if they think they're going to get away with it, no, they're not getting away with it. That's just that. Okay. Now, so y'all see that solar eclipse. Now we get to this scene right here where while he was getting baptized, while Dahmer was getting baptized, you have Scarborough. Yo, that freaking guys, that CO who we saw in I think episode 9 about the whales and stuff, we saw clearly that he did not like Dahmer. I feel like he put this whole thing in motion, because since when does Scarver help these two inmates out, Dahmer and the other dude? Since when, right? So he calls him in there. Hold on, I got a cough, guys. Sorry. Sorry, 1 second. So he calls him in there, and then he leaves. He's supposed to be watching them. You got 3 inmates in here by themselves, unsupervised. Normally you standing next to the door. Now you decide you want to leave. So he leaves, and Dahmer is looking around like, okay, this is kind of weird. What's going on? So anyway, he goes in there. Scarver goes in there with the other dude in the lockers, because he's like, I'm going to go clean the lockers. Do you want to give me a hand? Next thing you know, there's some type of commotion going on. You can hear the dude yell, and he hits the floor. Scarver comes out with a bloody like broomstick or mop stick. And he says, oh, don't feel bad for him, because he killed his wife, stabbed her in the face 5 times, and then tried to blame it on 2 black guys. I was like, oh my gosh. But then he goes in and tells him that ain't nothing compared to what you did. You know, what you did to that 14-year-old boy, blah, blah, blah. And he says, why did you do it? What did you, he just started asking him all these questions. And Dahmer was saying that I was lost and all of that. So now he's telling him, Scarf is telling him that he is God's vessel. And God told him that he's supposed to take care of him. So y'all know what happens. He knocks him out. He tells him that he's about to feel every bit of it, because Dahmer told him that he didn't let his victim suffer, and they didn't feel nothing on that. Well, he said, you about to feel every minute of this, okay? And he definitely wails on him really bad. Sorry. This is when I need somebody else in here with me so I could take my little break. Sorry about that. So, this right here, he over here talking about God told him to do that. Listen, you're just sick as well, and you're crazy. Okay. And he is killing someone else for being a murderer when he was also a murderer. So it was like, really, you cannot try to justify the reason why you're doing this, justify your own murders compared to somebody else's murders and all this stuff. And I think what I was reading a little bit on this guy Scarver was that he felt like Jeffrey wasn't worthy of calling himself a murderer because of the people that he murdered and stuff like that. And so it was just like, you're a killer, you're a killer. You know what I'm saying? Neither one of you deserve any respect. And that's not to say anything right about Dahmer, or I'm nothing like that. Absolutely not. Nothing like that. I'm just saying his reasoning was just like, you're just sick. That's it. You're just sick. He kind of seems like he got a little obsessed with Dahmer's story and his own mind. He felt like he needed to exact justice, and that's what he did. Now, he beat him pretty bad, and I don't think that's how it went. I think in real life he hit him once or maybe twice, and then he succumbed to the injuries. Or did he succumb to the injuries at the hospital, or was it vice versa with the other guy? One of them died later on, and either Dahmer died right on the spot and the other guy died later on or something like that. I'm not sure. But the thing about this one right here was that he saw how Dahmer was this whole time, and he waited till after he becomes a Christian brother, which is how Scar is supposed to be looking at it. He waits until afterwards to kill him, right? And but he was doing all these crazy things already in front of him, so it was kind of weird. Like, well, why didn't you do it before? Why didn't you do it sooner? But anyway, guys, it doesn't matter. He's dead. When I heard about him being dead, and I'm not trying to be like nothing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to nobody or anything, because this is still Jeffrey Dahmer's. I mean, he has parents, right? When I heard that he was dead, I don't think anyone was sad at all, because we remember what this man did. We remember what he did. So I don't know what happened. One thing that I said already about this series here is that they added their own little things. That part, right? And that's what I don't like. I don't like when they take their own little liberties for a true story and they add their own little stuff. One thing that I did hear that was most likely not true was hearsay, was that whole thing of him, pouring the ketchup on the bones and saying that this is how my victims looked and all of that stuff. They're saying that I read some articles where they said that this was never said in any of like the transcripts, none of the interviews or anything like that. And now all of a sudden people are saying that this happened, but it was the guards that said it. And they never spoke up and said anything about this before. So like I said, we don't know what certain things, and that irks me. Not to say we need to know every detail, but don't put it in the story if it's not true. That's my thing. That's my thing right there. All right. So anyway, I know a lot of people were very like, oh, what a great moment, beat the crap out of him. You know what I'm saying? And then there were some people that I heard were feeling bad. They felt bad for Dahmer at the end and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I didn't feel bad. I just felt like the timing was weird to me from Scarver. That's all I'm saying. That's all I got to say, because I didn't feel bad. Now so now he's dead. It was very sad though when Lionel had to go and see his body and how they did him and stuff. That was pretty sad, guys. From that's a father looking at. I know that Jeffrey Dahmer was a monster and stuff like that, but I'm talking about the father having to see that and all. So that was pretty tough. But now the mother wants to go to court because she wants them to be able to study his brain. And the father, Jeffrey Dahmer's dying wishes was to have his ashes scattered or something like that, right? Was it burned or scattered? I don't remember. But the point is, he had some dying wishes, and the father was carrying it out. Half of his remains went to the mom, and half went to the dad. So the mom wants the brain to be studied to see if it can help people in the future to see what was going on with this guy. But Lionel is saying, no, I want to put this behind me, and I just want to get it over with. I don't want to linger on anymore. And she's willing to go to court for this, and that's what the lawyer tells her. And he said, oh, I'm sure she is. So when they get to court, you see the judge rules in Lionel's favor, and they have Dahmer's oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys, that probably sounds gross. They have Dahmer's his brain, they have it burned, because they already had convicts, like they already took it and had it in some kind of lab already, just waiting there, So here's how I feel about this. I don't feel like he should have had a last rites as far as what should be done with his remains, because if somebody or a university or anything wanted to use his brain to help other people to see why he did the things he did, or how sick he was, and or if it's something that could be diagnosed or signs for somebody else, I think they should have allowed it. Okay, he didn't give all those victims a choice. Amongst how many of those victims, 17 victims or something like that? How many of those men probably wanted to donate their organs? Did he give them an opportunity to do that? Did he give them a chance? No, he took their rights away from them. He stole all of that. He stole their dreams. So why the heck should he be able to say, no, this is what I want done with my body and stuff like that? No, you're dead now. When your last meal, okay, you're still here. You could say what you want for your last meal. You could say if you want to be baptized and all of that stuff, fine. I mean, he didn't get a last meal because he was killed, right there. But I'm saying if he was executed, they asked with your last meal, your last words, all of that stuff. But what we gonna do with your body parts after that? As far as I'm concerned, I think, from my opinion, I think his body should have belonged to the state. That's what I think. It should have belonged to the state, and they should have been able to do whatever with any of his organs. But I don't think any of his organs should have been able to be donated nowhere. Heck no, as far as like transplants, you know what I'm saying? But that brain, yes, it should have been able to be tested. Okay, because honey, no. All right. But hold on, but that's pretty much how everything went with that. And now we also have Glenda fighting to the end. Okay, she's fighting to the very end, and she wants to know what is taking so long to get that memorial site up at the building. And we find out that it's never going to happen. And then at the end of the episode, we see all the victims, guys. And one thing that I did notice about the victims is that if you look from the very top, it took like a decade between the first two victims, and they were very much spread it out. And as we got closer and closer to the end, they were so close together to the point where they were days apart, yo. It was so good for Tracy to get away from him, because the victims was going to just add up very quickly. Whatever was going on in his mind, it was getting stronger. The cravings were getting stronger, because if you look at the dates when these guys were killed, or maybe last seen, I think he actually knows the dates, so that's why the dates are down there. But when they were last seen and stuff like that, you can see what is going on, and they were just closer and closer together. So it's really, really sad, and I'm glad that he was caught, because it could have been way more people. But it's just terrible that all these lives had to go. But guys, that is the end, and the chapter of Dahmer is definitely closed. And I am done with this. I'm sorry that I was coughing and all that stuff. I'm trying my best to just, move along and do what I need to do. But thank you so much, guys, for being here, joining me, all the people that were in the building, your queen, my sissy, I speak life and wisdom. support gaming. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming through and recession proof, and anybody else that's here. I got to get off, guys, because I am ready to continue to cough. All right. Sorry. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and be blessed. Savannah, take care. Bye-bye.